Welcome back to the deep dive. This is your shortcut to, well, getting up to speed on complex stuff fast. If you're jumping into a new field or maybe prepping for a big negotiation or even just trying to understand the kind of crazy supply chain complexity behind something like, I don't know, a basic t shirt. You already know that technical communication. It's just everything, absolutely critical. So today we're really diving deep into the apparel industry. It's a place where getting communication wrong isn't just like a waste of time. It can mean thousands, literally thousands of dollars down the drain on bad prototypes or production delays. Our sources are focused on nailing one really key shortcut for making sure everyone's on the same page, the callout, and specifically how it works inside that crucial document, the tech pack. This is really the core knowledge you need to take an idea, a concept, and turn it into a real product that people can buy without, major disasters along the way. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, it's absolutely a make or break thing for anyone developing a product. The tech pack. You can kind of think of it as the master blueprint for the garment, right? Or its instruction manual. It needs total precision. I mean, taking a beautiful design sketch and actually making it, that hinges completely on the factory understanding every single tiny detail correctly. And if they misread something, even something small like the seam allowance that's the fabric edge outside the stitch line, or maybe a tricky placket construction, the bit where buttons go, poof. That first sample is basically garbage, and you've just lost weeks of your lead time. It's brutal. But, just digging into the vocabulary here gives us this immediate kind of aha moment.
Yeah.
Because the word callout itself, well, it has a bit of a surprise meaning here. It's basically the opposite of how we use it in everyday conversation.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, if you just look it up, like in a regular dictionary, a callout is usually negative, isn't it?
Right.
Like a statement drawing critical attention to someone's unacceptable actions or behavior. You call someone out for making a mistake.
Yeah. Exactly. Like if the pattern grader messes up the sizing chart, you definitely call them out on that. But what's really fascinating, I think, is how the apparel industry just completely flips that. They sort of sanitize the term. It stops being about corrective statements aimed at a person, and it becomes about descriptive elements focused on a product detail. So in the apparel world, a callout is officially defined as a magnified part or element of a product that highlights specific design details needing deeper explanation or attention. It's all about proactively zooming in, making sure nothing gets missed. It's about ensuring success from the start, not fixing a mess later.
Huh. So they totally flip the meaning. But why? I mean, what drove the need for that level of specific detail? If the manufacturer already has the main technical drawing, what's the call out? Adding that, say, just zooming in on a PDF couldn't do.
That's the key question, isn't it? The goal isn't just seeing the detail bigger, it's about annotating it, embedding really specific instructions that, crucially, cannot be misinterpreted. Sure, a factory worker can zoom in on a drawing of a cuff, but that zoom alone won't tell them the required stitch density inside or the exact type of interfacing material needed, or say, the precise width of the placket.
Okay.
So callouts get used specifically for those bits that are either, well, too small to see clearly on the main technical drawing, they call that the design flat, the 2D drawing, or they're just too complicated to explain with a simple note. They really act like visual footnotes. They stop those really expensive interpretation mistakes.
Wow. Okay. So it's about making the invisible stuff, the construction details, making them visible, undeniable, and measurable.
Precisely. Yeah. If you've got some really complex or maybe unusual feature, like a special double layered storm flap on a jacket, you just can't rely on the main drawing because it's too small scale.
Right.
The callout literally explodes that specific area. It shows how the fabric layers relate, the exact stitch points. It's the quality control built right into the blueprint.
Gotcha. Which makes sense. So that brings us to how they're actually made, the implementation. Since they're about precision, how do designers create them? Are they just like close-up photos, or is there a standard way they look?
They're mainly a mix, usually specialized graphics, sometimes with text, but they act like a mini manual just for that one detail. You can use photos sometimes, sure, but they're really critical callouts. They tend to rely on more advanced visuals that actually show the structure. The sources we looked at point out a few key types. They use things like cross-sectional diagrams.
Oh, okay. Like
Yeah.
slicing through it.
Exactly, yeah, like slicing through the fabric layers to show how they stack up. That clarifies the construction. They also use exploded views, maybe for hardware like a zipper pull or a snap, showing how the pieces fit together. And they use detail illustrations, often with really specific dimension lines, to nail down the exact size and spacing of things.
That difference seems really important. It sounds like the difference between just sending the factory a picture of a seam and sending them like an x-ray of the seam that shows exactly what's happening inside between the layers of fabric.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. It's about revealing the internal structure, not just the surface look.
This whole system sounds, well, incredibly organized. It must take a lot of discipline from the designer creating these tech packs. Is there a structure to the callouts themselves, like standard categories they fall into?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Huh.
The system is very organized. It gives the designer a clear framework to make sure every vital piece is documented.
Mhm.
They generally break down into three main categories,
Mhm.
and these are classified based on what element the callout is explaining. This is where you really see the architecture of the tech pack. So first up, you have design details.
Okay.
These are mostly about the aesthetics,
Mhm.
right? The overall shape, proportions, where major features are placed, like where exactly does this waistband sit on the body, or what's the precise curve on a collar point. These callouts might just enlarge that area and add some key measurements.
Right, the look and feel stuff. And then we get into the guts of it, how it's actually put together.
Exactly. That's category two, constructions and finishes. Now we're talking the real nitty gritty, the engineering of the garment. This covers specific seam types, how hems are finished, the techniques used to make stress points stronger, internal finishing standards, all that. And this is arguably the most critical area for callouts because tiny differences in how something is constructed can lead to huge differences in how long it lasts and how much it costs to make.
Makes sense.
The simple seam, maybe it doesn't need a callout, but the one that involves folding the fabric edges under themselves twice, then stitching, it creates this super strong, clean finish inside. Now, trying to explain that accurately to a factory, you absolutely need a magnified, probably cross-sectional callout showing all those folds and stitch lines. You just can't leave that to interpretation.
Wow. That really highlights the complexity, doesn't it? Actually, I remember the source material connected this specific category, constructions and finishes, to research done for a whole book just on that topic.
It did, yes. The book, Sewing Seams for Tech Packs, it really shows how much deep, specialized knowledge exists just within this one area of garment construction.
It really does. Success comes from standardizing even the tiniest technical details, it seems.
That's the takeaway.
Okay, and then the third category, that covers all the little bits and pieces.
Right. Category three is trimmings,
Mm.
including labels. So this is everything else, all the functional bits, decorative things, or branding elements that aren't part of the main fabric structure. We're talking
Mm.
buttons, snaps, zippers, even the material specification for the little size label inside, and exactly where that label has to be stitched. These details are crucial for brand consistency, obviously, but also often for the garment's actual function. Like if you need a specific type of zipper pull that won't break easily, you need a callout specifying the material, maybe a supplier code, and precise placement diagrams.
It's kind of amazing how much detailed instruction is needed before anyone even starts sewing. It definitely changes how you look at clothes, even simple ones. So, what does this all mean? For you, listening, trying to absorb this quickly, I think it means that if you're in any complex technical field, apparel, sure, but also engineering, software, whatever your communication, can't just be buzzwords. It has to be about precision. And often that precision needs to be visual. Callouts basically take these potentially fuzzy design notes and turn them into crystal clear, magnified instructions that leave no room for error on the factory floor.
They're almost like an emergency brake, in
Yeah.
the design process, stopping a costly mistake before it even gets close to happening. That's a perfect way to describe it. And, if we zoom out a bit, connect this to the bigger picture. This need for really detailed, systematic, visual documentation, it goes way beyond just fashion. It really raises a big question, I think. Consider the complexity hidden in everyday things that are way more complicated than a shirt, right? Like industrial machinery parts or complex car components or maybe medical devices. If just getting the size label material and placement right needs a magnified cross-reference call-out to ensure quality and brand standards, just imagine the absolutely dizzying level of intense, detailed, visually guided documentation that must exist for those infinitely more complex products. It makes you wonder how much of successful technical communication across pretty much all industries really comes down to just being willing to zoom in, to meticulously define the details that maybe other people just gloss over. Mastering the callout isn't just about apparel, it's about mastering that mindset of absolute precision.